What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Vergil Ortiz Jr. in the news. That is Vergil Ortiz. Now, I like Vergil Ortiz. I really do. But, man, sometimes, bro, when people say things, bro, you just got to call cap and you got to pull receipts and you got to let them know, like, fam, you just can't be out here just saying any and everything like that, all right? Now, Vergil is obviously he has a fight on my birthday. Shout out to the Scorpios out there, November 8th against Erickson Lubin, which I think is a very good fight. Not gonna take that away. But I've always questioned Vergil Ortiz and Golden Boy's, choice and decision making when they come to moving Vergil Ortiz, as it seemed that Vergil Ortiz, or actually not even just Vergil Ortiz, Golden Boy has this whole thing where they'll get fighters an opportunity to fight for a championship fight or fight for a world title just for them to duck the champion, right? You had at 135, they had Ryan Garcia, who became Devin Haney's mandatory. Ryan Garcia did not want that fight at the time. At one, you know what? I'm not even gonna speak on what I'm about to speak on next. Matter of fact, I want to let you guys hear what Vergil Ortiz had to say, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull up these receipts afterwards.
Good hand of Lubin, but obviously for you, I know you want to stand as a world champion, and almost to a man, when you look at the champions that are out there, they want no part of you. Is that frustrating to you? How do you set that aside as you're going about your business?
I think I dealt with the frustration at 140, 147, so it kind of got old at this point. Right now it's in the back of my mind. I think a lot of people understand what's going on. I'm just not getting my shots, or they just don't want to fight, or whatever the reason may be. They know that I want to take on the toughest fights possible, and I'm optimistic that these fights are gonna happen. You just gotta force it one way or another.
Yeah, one of the great fights.
Now, I got a problem with that, and this is why I don't like a lot of these type of interviewers, because, bro, they sit there and they try to they know good and well what's going on in the sport of boxing, but it's like they just try to cater to the person they interview instead of asking them the real questions or whatnot, right? The dude said it's got to be hard because none of the champions want to fight you. Here's my problem, bro. Vergil Ortiz, you're saying that you're not getting an opportunity, but, bro, you turned down 3 championship opportunities or 3 world title fight opportunities. 2 of them at 147 with the WBO with Terrence Crawford. You don't remember that? I can pull up the receipts right now. And then at 154, you turned down an opportunity to fight Backroom or whatnot for the IBF title. You had 3 opportunities to fight. You turned down Terrence Crawford twice and once with Backroom. Let's go ahead and get it. I can go ahead and get into the articles. Let me show my receipts, because this is like, bro, this is cap, bro. Like, you can't, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it, bro. But that's crazy. All right, so shout out to New Stitch Media. Y'all excuse my daughter, she in the background. It says WBO president confirms Vergil Ortiz declined Crawford not once but twice. He declined that fight twice. The WBO confirmed this. It says Oscar De La Hoya recently took to social media to address rumors surrounding WBO interim welterweight champion Vergil Ortiz turning down challenges, as he reminds the critics that his upcoming fight against Imantas Stanionis, which never happened, April 29th, 2023 at the College Park Center in Arlington, Texas for the WBA interim welterweight championship, will not be an easy fight. Although De La Hoya, although De La Hoya does expect Vergil to get the win, they plan to put on the division's best fighters on notice that they are open for business. According to WBO president Paco I can't pronounce his last name, Ortiz dodged a couple of fights. In an interview with the Boxing Boys podcast, Vergil Ortiz was offered an opportunity to face WBO welterweight champion Terrence Bud Crawford on 2 occasions, and the Ortiz camp elected to go in different directions instead of accepting the offer. The timing of De La Hoya's comments leads me to believe that he is responding to the comments made by WBO presidents Paco Valcarcel, whatever. Stanionis believes, or I don't even want to get into that. I ain't even got to get into Stanionis. But see, that's why I say, bro, it pays to know your boxing, because I remember that was the reason why Sean Porter ended up getting the fight with Terrence Crawford, because Vergil Ortiz declined the fight with Terrence Crawford. See, like, that's what I'm saying. I like Vergil, but it's like, come on, bro. We got receipts here, bro. You had opportunities to fight for a title on numerous occasions, and you chose not to. But wait, there's more. All right, so shout out to Ring Magazine, aka the Bible of Boxing. States, this is an article from Ring Magazine. It states De La Hoya doesn't like the Vergil Ortiz versus Bakram clash. All right, it says IBF junior middleweight champion Bakram Murtazayev, I believe that's how you say his last name. I always just call him Bakram. But anyways, it says Bakram recently called out Vergil Ortiz for a fight. The IBF champion called out Vergil Ortiz for a fight. The challenge was taken serious last week. Main Events and Golden Boy entered negotiations for a potential summer showdown, but the fight doesn't appear to be moving forward any longer. Bakram's promoter Kathy Duva of Main Event said they accepted the terms, but Ortiz's side didn't. The fight was done on our side. The second it was offered, Ortiz turned it down flat. Duva told the Ring Magazine on Monday. Duva said Bakram's manager, Aegis Clemens, was told that Ortiz himself didn't want to fight because Bakram is too tough. In an interview with The Ring on Monday at Golden Boy headquarters, Ortiz promoter Oscar De La Hoya said Bakram is not the ideal matchup for Ortiz, who is coming off of 2 spirited slugfests in a row against Sergey Boachuk and Israel Madrimov. So Oscar De La Hoya himself stated that was not the ideal term for Ortiz. I don't like the Bakram fight, De La Hoya told The Ring. Vergil just had 2 tough fights against Madrimov and Bakram. And it's funny though, they like to go back and say, oh, Vergil Ortiz whooped him way easier than, it was a much easier fight than with Terrence Crawford, but now all of a sudden it was 2 tough fights back there. Okay. Anyways, anybody in their right mind knows that anybody in their right mind knows that 2 tough fights. He needs a welcome home type of fight against a top 10 kind of fighter. If you go straight into fire, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Burn out Vergil? No, I have my plan. That's why Golden Boy has been successful for many years. Bakram, who has a record of 23-0 with 17 knockouts, made major waves in 2024. In 2024, capturing the IBF title in May, knocking out Jack Kuklay and defending the title in a devastating fashion against Tim Tszyu. Ortiz, who has a record of 23-0 with 21 knockouts, is coming off of a unanimous decision win against Madrimov last month. In August, he was dropped twice against Boachuk and sneaked past the Ukrainian via majority decision in a Fight of the Year contender. Ortiz is ranked number 2 at the ring at 154 pounds. Bakram is rated number 3, but Bakram is still the champion. So that's just their pound for pound rankings for the 140, 154. But anyways, Vergil is the fight Bakram wants, and we, as his promoter, want. Said Duva. The fans would love this fight if it gets made. Bakram is a wrecking machine. You have 2 guys who can punch and are exciting. It has fireworks written all over it. So that's 2. Well, really 3 opportunities that he's had to fight for a world title, and he chose not to. You guys heard it in the article. Instead of him fighting for a world title, this dude chose to fight for an interim title on two separate occasions, bro. At 147, he wanted to fight for. He had the WBO interim title, which made him next in line to fight for the real title, which was Terrence Crawford. He turned that down. Instead, he wanted to fight Stanionis for the WBA the WBA interim title or whatnot. And then at 154, instead of fighting Bakram, he's fighting Erickson Lubin for another interim title. And for guys that don't know that what interim titles, that interim titles is not a real title. It's not a world. It's not a championship title. It's basically letting you know that you're next in line to fight for that real title or whatnot. So instead of fighting for the real title, he fights for the interim title. All right, you had an opportunity to fight for the IBF, and instead you're trying to fight. Well, you're fighting Erickson Lubin for the interim. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. All right, and then this is what Robert Garcia, a highly respected trainer, by the way, who I respect a lot. Listen to what he has to say.
You could also question, did he take the Fundora fight because there was better money, maybe? Because I know for a fact he was also in conversations about a fight against Vergil. So that's that's a question there. Did he pick Fundora because he thinks Fundora is easier than Virgil, or maybe the money is much better? I don't know. That obviously between him and PPC, whoever he deals with. But I know there was conversations about him fighting Vergil Ortiz, and that would have been Virgil's fight instead of Lubin.
So Robert Garcia, who once again is a highly respectable trainer, speaks on Keith Thurman fighting Sebastian Fundora over fighting Vergil Ortiz. Now, this is what's crazy to me is like, bro, Robert, you know the game. You've been in the game. You were a fighter yourself and a world champion at that, bro. You know the game. Why would Keith Thurman fight Vergil Ortiz for nothing when he can fight Sebastian Fundora and become a world champion in 2 divisions? I'm not understanding what these guys are not understanding about that. That makes absolutely no sense. Something that Vergil Ortiz should have done at 147 and at 154. He's had numerous multiple opportunities to fight for a world title and he chose not to. So now you're trying to shun Keith Thurman for fighting for a world title instead of fighting Vergil Ortiz for nothing? I mean, literally, it makes absolutely no sense. He fights Vergil Ortiz, literally gets nothing. He fights Sebastian Fundora and possibly becomes a 2-division world champion. It's easy pickings. It's common sense. It makes no sense to me why people are even trying to make that a big deal. Just like Terrence Crawford. At some point, you had like these dumb YouTubers that are pro. I don't like these YouTubers that are pro PBC. Like they act like, and I love the PBC, but I don't respect people that just are that just are just biased and anybody that they root for, it's like they can't do no wrong. I don't respect that. But you have some of these like YouTubers that was sitting here trying to criticize Terrence Crawford for moving up to fight Israel Madrimov instead of staying at 147 to fight Jaron Boots Ennis, who absolutely does nothing for Terrence Crawford's career, but Israel Madrimov now does more for his legacy. And now when he fought Israel Madrimov, he then became a 4-division world champion. Whereas if he would have fought Boots, it would have literally been for nothing. So it's like, I don't understand what these guys are just dumb. Like these guys are just like, it's like they are all brainwashed. Like I don't know what's it like. It's like the Tank Davis fanboys or whatnot. These channels that they just want to just go by whatever Tank Davis does. They just all think that, they don't care about the legacy or whatnot. You can't disrespect fighters that care about legacy, bro. These fighters actually want to do something for their legacy. They want to make sure, they want to pad their legacy up, bro. Terrence Crawford is now a 5-division world champion, first ever male undisputed champion in 3 divisions, bro. He has broken history twice. I mean, he's made history twice, bro. He was the first male undisputed 2-division, multiple division champion. Now he's the first undisputed male 3-division. He's made history. Keith Thurman is becoming a 2-division world champion, bro. These guys are facing champions for their legacy. So you can't criticize them. You can't question them. No, absolutely not, bro. Vergil Ortiz had his opportunities. He chose not to fight for those world titles. So you can't sit here and criticize or be mad or cry and say that you're not getting your opportunities, because guess what, bro? On 3 occasions, as I just proved, you had an opportunity. Checkmate. I definitely want to hear what you guys got to say in the comment section. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. But what do I know?